after such a long time, and honestly quite a long year, it feels like the movie event that everyone's been going on about for half a decade is finally out. I'm talking about Wicked. There's been a lot at stake for this film. I feel like it's had so much hype and word around it and so much money thrown at it, and the marketing was insane, that realistically it had to be good in order for it to pay off. And today I'm gonna answer if it actually was or not. Now, Wicked is something that has been trying to get off the ground for such a long time. Obviously, it's based on the book by Gregory Maguire, which was then adapted into a Broadway musical in 2003. And ever since then, I feel like any studio has been trying to sit there and think, how can we actually profit off of this and make a movie? There's so much to talk about this in sense of the actual movie and everything behind the scenes of it, although I don't know if it's really important to get into that. Obviously, there was the controversy with the poster where Cynthia Erivo posted about how she was angry that people were photoshopping it, and the AI videos, which I completely agree with. Sure, get them out there. She was angry at Charlie XCX for posting this. Like, I don't know, there's limits to how much she's realistically making sense, but I understand where she's coming from. Of course, that's followed up by the really cringy interview between Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. And then of course you could also talk about the fact that Cynthia Erivo started dating Lena Waithe while she was married and basically, you know, broke that marriage up and home wrecked it. And of course, if we're going there, you could also talk about the fact that Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater had an affair while they were filming the movie, even though Grande was trying to work out her relationship with Dalton Gomez, and Slater was still married to his high school sweetheart who they had a kid together with. And of course, if we're going to mention all of that, then we might as well mention the whole thing with the pictures on Twitter and people are taking photos in the cinema. Why? Stop doing this. Even Cynthia Erivo and The Rock were like promoting people, being like, sing as loud as you can in the cinema. It doesn't matter, you paid full price. No, learn cinema etiquette. What the fuck is going on? Why is everyone losing their mind? But none of that's important because we're talking about the movie. None of the behind the scenes stuff matters. Honestly, I'm a big fan of musicals. Some of them I think are absolutely fantastic. And of course, this year has not been shy with some really mediocre and awful ones. These two, for example, are two that I am so glad I never ever have to even think about again. But realistically, what this year needed was an actual musical that was good and had substance to it, and had good music and was done well. And I'm happy to say that Wicked actually delivers, for the most part, on all of these things that these other two films were missing. The film follows the same characters from The Wizard of Oz and basically gives some backstory, some context to all of their decisions and their lives before the events of that movie. And going into that, I had no idea. I have no connection with the Broadway show. I've never seen it. I've never heard any of the music from it. So I was going into this film completely blind slate, and it worked incredibly well for me. Right off the bat, performance-wise, despite all of the complications of these two people, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are both fantastic in this. I would not be surprised if Ariana Grande snags the Best Supporting Actress Oscar. Gonna go very far this award season. Regarding the music, of course, I hadn't heard any of it before, but it's mostly, I think, all the same from the Broadway show. I don't know if they made anything new. However, with all the good things, there is the big controversy on the color in this film, the saturation, which people on Twitter have been having an absolute field day about. Realistically, my opinion on it is, yeah, some of this looks so grey and glum and sad, and it's like, just turn that saturation up for something. I don't know a single thing about color correction when it comes to filmmaking, so I can't really comment on how to fix any of these issues. But for me, when you have all these really stunning sets, which are probably also going to snag Oscars, but you have these amazing sets and this great production and amazing costumes, and then you watch the film, it feels as if some of that color has been stripped away in order for realism, as John M. Chu, the director, has said. I think the term realism is fine for a movie, and if you're trying to make this a lot more grounded, then that's completely fine. But realism does not always equal a realistic view of everything. Obviously, this isn't realistic because there's flying witches and stuff. That's not something you see every day. Just because you're trying to make this feel like something that could be the everyday world or relatable to some sense, doesn't mean you have to shy away from trying to make it look a little bit dreamy. That's one of the most important things about The Wizard of Oz, is that film feels so dreamlike, and it's something that absolutely benefits that film forever and ever. It's funny as hell to sit here and think that the big thing holding this film back a little bit is the director, because there certainly is direction for this. From what I've read about the original Broadway, this is literally just a bit by bit recreation of it, and that's completely fine. It just would have helped if John M. Chu actually put a bit more effort into some of these aspects. You have everyone doing 100%. They're all doing very well, helping to build on this story that's so rich and grand. And obviously Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo are holding that at the very front line. But then you have a director who just feels like he's a little bit lost in some of the things. Obviously these are decisions that he stands by, and that's completely fine, but personally, if it were up to me and a lot more other people, it would have gone in a different way. Which then leads me to my final real thing to touch on, which is the runtime. The original Broadway is 2 hours 45 minutes, I think, and this film is 2 hours 40 minutes. Obviously things have been added, and that's completely fine. To take the same amount of time to tell an original story is insane, but that was something I thought before I saw the film. Now that I've seen it, I don't care. It really does not feel that long. At no point was I checking my phone and itching to get out of the cinema. I really don't think the runtime does it any bad. And yeah, there's obviously criticism to be like, why is it taking so long to tell one story? And the fact that the film was never exactly marketed as part one. All the posters, and even when you search up, it just says Wicked, and then when you walk in that cinema and you sit down, the first thing you see is Wicked Part 1. Just a bit scummy. Who knows? I don't know, maybe putting part 1 on it would have thrown people off and put them off. At the end of the day, I think Wicked is actually a fantastic time, and I think it has absolutely destroyed everyone's Oscar ballots for next year, because quite frankly, after seeing this, I have no idea where anything's going and what direction it is. Who knows? At the end of the day, if you want a good musical, fun time, go and see this. Honestly, it reminds me so much of Wonka, because they're both musicals that came out late in the year.